hats off to Candace Parker, number 3 in the Raptors, and it's up there forever. Y'all, it's nothing lightly, and we're here with another episode. I'm C's, and this is Dee Dee. We are your host of the show, and this one is going to be a special one because just yesterday, Chicago's very own Candace Parker, wearing number 3, her jersey was retired for the Chicago Skies organization, and that was a huge night for Chicago. We just want to say that I'm sure that Wintrust Arena was packed to the rim. It was probably near sold out, I'm not sure, but it was just a beautiful moment for the WNBA and especially the Chicago Skies organization. When she came back, she was able to come back to the Sky and deliver a championship there, and it was beautiful to just see number 3 go up in the rafters. So, Deasia, what was your feeling of just watching that? How did you feel as a Chicagoan, as a Chicago basketball player, and just a fan of Candace Parker? I mean, it's something surreal. It's something that, like, when you see the Sparks one, that was the first team that she was drafted to. But when you see the Chicago Sky and you go to the games and you know what she meant to their city, like, she brought them a championship. And if you remember that championship, they were kind of they weren't thought of to end up winning that year. And then to have that historic run and then bring this city a championship, it's remarkable. And it's no other reason why you wouldn't retire her jersey. Just her basketball history here is somebody that definitely deserves it. And shout out to Candace Parker. This makes me ask the question, Sierra, after all that we know about Candace Parker, who she is now with commentating, just giving her opinion, and then her on the court, do you still love Candace Parker? Yes, without a doubt, yes. It is some things that she might say, but again, she can talk that talk because she actually has backed it up in her entire career. If we go down the stats, and Dia should just give it to him real quick so you can have some context as listeners of who Candace Parker is, because let's be honest, put some respect on her name. Yeah, so Candace Parker, she has 3 championships. Like I said, she won one with the Sparks in 2016. She won another with the Sky in 2021, which is why her jersey is retired in Wintrust Arena. And then she came back in 2023 towards the end of her career with the Aces, and she helped them win a championship. Along with that, she's the WNBA MVP. She won that 2 times, 2008 and 2013. She's the WNBA Finals MVP of 2016. She, of course, was Rookie of the Year in 2008. She was the Defensive Player of the Year in 2020, which is towards the end of her career. This is just showing that she's a legend. She made the WNBA All-Star Game 7 times. She was WNBA All-Defensive Team twice in her career, 2012 and 2009. And that's just the WNBA. We know that she brought Tennessee a championship. She was remarkable with the Lady Vol. She's done a lot in her career. Even in high school, she's made the McDonald's All-American team. This is just who she is. When you think of college basketball, when you think of the WNBA, there's a couple names that come up. You got Lisa Leslie, you got Sue Bird, you have Maya Moore, and then you got to bring up Candace Parker. She's undeniable. I saw they had a tunnel when they was asking the players on the Chicago Sky, the current players, give one word of what you think of when you hear Candace Parker. What would be one word that you can use, Sierra, to describe who she is? I would just say that she's a trailblazer. And as far as backing that up, it's a lot of players that, we had this conversation a few days ago, even before this last night happened. We was just talking about this, Deasia, saying it's a lot of names that, because the WNBA is still so young and history is being made in this league every single day, you're going to have names that will go on to be Hall of Famers. But when you talk about trailblazers, this is the people that had blazed the path. So all of this could be possible. Some of what you're seeing in the WNBA, the expansion, the rights for more money, the push for more viewership, the audience, the popularity, the celebrity of the game that we're now seeing that they worked so hard earlier on. People like Candace Parker blazed this trail so that can happen. So to me, she is one of the biggest voices in sports media as it become, even just period for basketball, but she is a trailblazer when we just speak of her entire career. Yeah, so with that, Sierra, is there any memory that you have, like specific memory growing up watching her, or just something current that she's doing that, you think that she's still blazing a trail for basketball players, young basketball players? Is there any memory that you can remember? Well, I have early memories, just being a young player in Chicago, being on a scene. Yeah, you will be in tournaments or you will be in an exposure event and they'll be like, Candace Parker's in the building, and you're so young then, and you wonder, okay, who is she? So you do put eyes, you put a face to her name at that point. I can remember having those early experiences where you saw who she was. But I think me actually putting eyes to her game and studying her game, that came in her college career with the Lady Vols. And one of my favorite moments of her is just recently. They was doing a special and she was talking about the late great Pat Summitt, talking about her, pretty much what Pat Summitt meant to her mentorship, her coaching, and just giving us a glimpse of what that was like. And in that segment, you saw that Candace Parker was moved to tears. But I love everything that she said, that Pat Summitt was a special person. She was a beautiful person. And you just saw like how much she brought out of people and what she meant to the game of basketball. But for Candace Parker to like give us those personal moments, that was one of my favorites of Candace Parker, because that took a lot for her to be vulnerable with the cameras watching. So I really like that. Yeah, when you look back at what she was able to do with the Lady Vols, during that time, she averaged 19 points per game, 8 rebounds. She won an NCAA championship back-to-back times. That's something that's hard to do. Like, you don't really see that. The only team that's doing that now are 2 teams, UConn and South Carolina. But that was kind of the first during that time, Sierra. We was on a bandwagon of a team, seeing them go back to back and win championships. They were so dominant. It was because of her. But like you said, their coach was just a legend. And I think at that time in college basketball, you saw that was like the peak. It was like it was so many eyes on women's basketball at that time that it was fun to watch, but it was also encouraging, because now you had like, okay, I want to play for this big organization, or I want to play for this team that has this much pride in what they're doing. I want to, be a part of something huge like this, where you see a team go on this huge run. It was just amazing. So I think that, yeah, you see teams like UConn, South Carolina, even the Notre Dames, they have LSU, they have this pride. But all of that for us, DH, and that's just for us. 15, 20 years ago, that started then for us to see that. And it's basketball history. That's what it is. And she's a huge part of that. Yeah, like we said, you can't mention Chicago basketball without bringing her up. You got Michael Jordan, you got D Rose, you got, I guess you can even say D Wade. But in that conversation, you must say Candace Parker, especially on the women's side here. Who else are you going to put in there? You can't, she's undeniable. That's the word that I would use. Undeniably, you got to say Candace Parker. And right now, I would say the only other person that we are thinking about now who's going to blaze a trail similar as Candace Parker, and probably sky's the limit, is Angel Reese. And that's where some of the backlash is coming. And we asked the question, do you still love Candace Parker? It's because of her comments that she made maybe about a month ago. But you heard her last night saying sky's the limit for Angel Reese. How do you feel with her, like, changing her statement? In a way, that's basically what she did. She changed what she was saying, and she said not only offensively, but defensively, she's a presence to be reckoned with. I don't know if she changed her statement, because a lot of that is just like parts of the clip of what she originally said. The media got to give us some grace. Well, we as fans, we got to give us some grace, because if you look at the whole thing, maybe some of that was taken out of context. I do believe that she's always been a champion, or somebody, a fan of Angel Reese, or rallying around wanting her as a force. She's so vocal about the presence of post players. So I just don't see her going out there and just having, just picking apart her game. But DH, as if you a media personnel and you a major voice in women's sports, that's just part of the job. So yeah, maybe this was like completely different for what she said. Yeah, but we only heard a part of it. So I'm going to just chalk it up as that. But I appreciate her backing it up and saying, you know what, Angel Reese, the sky is the limit because she's so young. I think she broke a record last night with the most double doubles in 2 seasons. It's crazy. So if you can't, support that, then I just I don't get it. So I think that she understands, hey, she might not be the type of player that I was as far as I can shoot or do this, but she's still developing. And that's where I come in to help her get to that level. So that's what I took from those words last night. Yeah, one thing I like about Candace Parker, I was listening to an interview that Becky Hammond had. And obviously, Becky Hammond coached Candace Parker when in that last season when she played for the Aces. But what I like most about listening to what Becky Hammond, she brought up when they were actually opponents when they played overseas. And remember, we always go back and forth and talk about how the WNBA is no longer, these players don't have to go overseas now. But then you hear like the stories from a Becky Hammond when they had to go overseas to make money. But she was just saying during that time, that's when their families got close and they leaned on each other. Like to see another American overseas was a big deal. And in her, that was Candace Parker. And from there, their friendship grew. They still was rivals, but at the same time, they understood each other. And she said Candace Parker is just a great basketball mind. Whenever she gets the opportunity to talk sports, talk basketball, she does it. So could you imagine coaching somebody that was your opponent? That's just what the WNBA is. It's like it has a strong history. It's basically a group of rivalries that sometimes you look across and they become your teammate or you're coaching them down the line. But I really like just hearing that. I just like to talk sports with her. That's kind of how I feel about me and you, Sarah. We just like talking hoops, and that's what their relationship is about. Yeah, and I think it's always a space for that. Like, we think so much it got to be competition in sports, but if we can just have ideas and bring them together, that's the beautiful thing. You don't never want to silence anybody, and I think Candace Parker, what she doing, she is pushing. She's pushing and bringing a public aware of who these players are. You might not like everything that she has to say, but it's still headlines. It's still news, and that's what the WNBA needs. So Candace Parker, shout out to you. In my book, I still love Candace Parker, and I always will because of what she means to Chicago. Let's get into a few of the words that she said. Some of it was funny, some of it was interesting, and then she kind of went personal when she gave her speech yesterday. It was kind of poetic, but it also was literally a timeline of how her career played out. And in some parts of that day, she talked about some of her Chicago favorites. I want to ask you, what are your Chicago favorites? As far as food or just anything? Just anything. Just the culture of Chicago, because that's what she kind of gave us a glimpse of. Well, I mean, I just will say this. Like, when I travel to other places, it's one thing that you always going to go back to, and that's always number one, is the food. But my family is here, too, so I think that's a big deal. I think she mentioned her family a lot. So, number one, I would say my family. Like, everything about me is really here. When I go somewhere else, I'm still thinking about I need to get back to the city because that's where my family is. That a big part of who I am is with my family around. Like, I don't think you will really truly understand who I am without knowing who my sister is or my brother. Even our aunts and uncles, our grandparents. And like we already mentioned how big our granddad is to us with sports and everything, but he did a lot of his work in Chicago. So that's one thing. But another thing is the food. It ain't no food like Chicago food. And I think, like, you will really know if somebody is you will know if somebody is touring Chicago or if they really, like, from this area. Because if you bring up deep dish pizza to me, like, who's eating deep dish here? I'm talking about Italian Fiesta. I'm talking about our ribs. Like, come on now. We probably have the best barbecue, our chicken, of course. So those things mean a lot to me. But outside of that, I would say sports is a big deal. I don't think any other place, they don't embrace sports the way Chicago, and that was something that Candace Parker said. Like, she mentioned the Bears, she mentioned the Cubs, the White Sox, all of that. But that's big here to me, and I think it's a big deal. our sports here. I go out my way to get to a Chicago Sky game. I don't care if they lose and win, whatever. I just gotta go. That's how I feel. What about for you? I feel I can agree with that. No matter how Chicago sports, for some reason, the pride, all of it runs deep in our city. Like people cling and latch on, and it's like you don't see that anywhere else. It's hard that and it's across all sports, even the Blackhawks division. People love our teams. The Bears gonna be having a terrible season, but them stadiums and them tickets are still gonna be through the roof. It's gonna still be this much pride that you latch on, and that's how we feel about the Chicago Sky. So I love this moment. But as far as the culture, and I think Candace Parker really kind of introduced fans to that, because this was nationally televised. She gave us everyone a chance to see Chicago through her eyes. But through my eyes, Chicago is just beautiful. There's so many parts to it. The city itself is undeniable. I don't think it's no city like it. The food is one thing, but just the people of it. It is a melting pot, but it's some good people in Chicago. It's some great things happening here. I love it because it is home. Even if you're in the suburbs, you still not far from Chicago. So you can be in the south suburbs. You can be, in the northern suburbs, west suburbs. It's just all still feels like an extension of Chicago. So it's special to me in that way, but it's home. Yeah, and I think that was something that Candace Parker shouted out because she talked about Naperville a lot, where she was from. And that's honestly, when we would play AAU basketball, our tournaments wasn't always in the city. Like, we would be going to Naperville, Romeoville, Aurora, way out. And that's when you would know that you will hear, oh, Candace Parker's sitting over there and you playing, so you never get the opportunity to look over there and see, oh, that's her. But when you do, she didn't already left the building. But that was our introduction to this is basketball on another level. I remember some of our hardest games would be on a Sunday and we all the way out in Aurora somewhere, but basketball's an extension there. It doesn't just, it's not just the city. It's like when you can go all over Illinois. And that's what she was mentioning too, that although she played for the Chicago Sky, her roots went further than that. Like, she really started in Naperville. So shout out Naperville. Shout out the Chicagoland suburbs. Shout out everybody in the city. And shout out Candace Parker. She really put on for women's basketball and just sports in general. Just making it seem that anybody, like, if you could dream it, you could do it. And that's really like, you could see, she was just basically saying, in other words, I'm just somebody who believed in what my parents were saying, that you can do this, you can take it as far as the limit. And the sky is the limit. Not her. Number 3 is in the rafters, and nobody else can ever wear it. And isn't that powerful, Deaja, that your jersey, nobody else can put that on? Like, what do you think that meant to her? We know that it was tears that were shed last night. She had even teammates to come back, but to just see that, hey, I played so well in this jersey. Number 3 can't be worn again. This is, first of all, for Chicago to do that. And, to hear the story of how they even got her to come to the team. But what do you think that moment was like for her to, like, watch her jersey go all the way up? I think that's legendary. It's iconic. It's something that, like, to be a Hall of Famer, Sierra, is one thing, but to a Hall of Famer and a jersey is retired like nobody else. And number 3, it ain't like this is number 30 or like a random. People wear number 3. People wear number 3, and just to know that no one else is going to be able to wear this number, and to go in that arena and see your jersey hanging up next to the championship that you brought to this team, like, come on now. You know that, and without a doubt, you took basketball as far as you can go. That's what she did. That's literally what she was saying. Like, thank you for being here on this journey with me. And y'all see that I really took it as far as I could. I won a championship, and now number 3 is retired. And thank you all for doing that. Yeah. But as we say, Candace Parker, she big to us. She's big to other basketball fans. Shout out Candace Parker. We can go on and on about what she means to basketball, but her legacy still, it lives on, because what she is doing in the media she's a force to be reckoned with, and she's a voice that needs to be heard. Much respect. She has all the things that we need to learn about basketball. She is someone But I mean, we need to hear. I'm glad that she is broadcasting, that she is, public about what she's doing in the community and what she's doing for sports. So the WNBA needs her, and over here we're supporting. And yeah, and then yesterday she brought up this saying that we should know, because she brought up the Doug Bruno camp, and if you was some young girl playing in the city, you know what the Doug Bruno camp was, and she brought up that saying basketball. I love it, I love it, I love it. So we gonna leave y'all with that. If y'all want to follow us, keep doing so on TikTok, Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let us know in the chat if you still love Candace Parker, because we do. This is our episode, and shout out to her. Congrats, well deserved. Hats off to Candace Parker, number 3 in the Raptors, and it's up there forever. It's up there.